time for Bring Your Own Lunch. Personal stories about the business with my daddy, Dave T. Koenig.
All right, come on in, have a seat, welcome. This is the Bring Your Own Lunch podcast at bringyourownlunch.com, the magic of iTunes, the majesty of Stitcher, and however you found your way to download this podcast, I thank you. As you heard at the top, my name is Dave T. Koenig. I'm an actor, writer, director, producer, comedian, all-around swell dude, and almost done with my Christmas shopping. And of course, I'm the host of the podcast you're listening to right now. BYOL is the hashtag we use if you want to come play along and give us a shout out on Twitter or on Facebook or on any of the myriad social networking opportunities there are out there. We'd love to see BYOL become a thing in 2015. Are you looking ahead? Are you looking ahead to next year? Because I think there's a few things that I'd like to have happen, most of them monetary. But if BYOL could be a thing that people post for some reason or another, I'd be thrilled with that. I'd really enjoy that. And if you want to find us on social media, there's Facebook, facebook.com/bringyourownlunch. There's Twitter at BYOL podcast. We have an Instagram and a YouTube page. You can find them pretty easily. And of course, you can go to our website, bringyourownlunch.com. And at this time of year, it's a time of giving. It's a time of helping other people. And if you'd like to help us, one of the best ways you can help us is go on iTunes and subscribe and then rate the show. Give it a number of stars. The max would be fine. You can give us a review and say glowingly awesome things about me and the show and me. And of course, then you could share it with your friends, let them know about this podcast, because what we're doing here is trying to give people an insight into who is involved in the world of entertainment. And they're the names you know, of course. They're the ones who are on in the headlines and on the covers of magazines and such. They're the ones who you know, but they're the people who you may not know, and you should. And that was the idea of this podcast to begin with. So if you want to help spread the word about not just me and not just this show, but of the people who are working every day to make everything happen in entertainment, then please share this podcast with someone who you think would enjoy it, because that's what we do, and we offer up plenty of free advice. And if you listen to each episode, you can just take a couple notes, and there's a tidbit of information for anybody in any pursuit to follow, because I'm dealing with professionals here, and that's who we have on the show. And today, no exception. My guest is David Carl. He's an old friend of mine from the improv days, as are many people from the improv days. I continue to find out that being involved in improv in New York City opens you up to a massive number of people. And David Carl is among them. He's an actor and a writer and a producer and a comedian. And he's made his name not just in commercials and voiceovers and doing some plays and stuff like that, but he has been a big-time creator. He has made a name for himself by creating really unique, interesting shows. And one of the things that he's done is sort of become the go-to guy if you need somebody to impersonate Gary Busey. And we talk about a couple of his shows he's done in New York. We'll talk about Point Break Live, which is a live staged version of the movie Point Break, which is awesome. And his Gary Busey one-man show where Gary Busey performs all of Hamlet, which is, just insane to think about, but it is a very well-received show that has got some good legs. So he and I have a nice time talking. I'm glad I finally got a chance to have David on the show, because he is the subject and the source for one of my favorite stories of all time. It was told to me secondhand by a guy named Jay Kleitz, who you've probably seen on TV. He's our mutual friend who I've worked with, who he's worked with, and he told me the story about David Carl. That just was the most hilarious thing ever, and I've always wanted to hear it from David's point of view. So he's going to tell us that story as well. And he's also got a really interesting background coming from Texas and the Dallas metropolitan area, and not really metropolitan area. I guess he's from Dallas, period. The Dallas Metroplex, is that what they call it? Anyway, he grew up the son of a Presbyterian preacher. We find out some stuff about that, and it's really interesting, and I'm looking forward to bringing you that the chat that I had with David Carl at his apartment in New York City, and we have some fun. Oh, and also, this is cool. It's kind of groundbreaking, because it's the first time in the history of this podcast where somebody actually has lunch delivered. So the excitement builds throughout the podcast, throughout the interview, and the climactic moment of when that food arrives. Well, you're just going to be blown away. So listen up for that. I'm going to try to keep this short. I'm recording this on a Tuesday, releasing it on a Tuesday, and tonight, this same Tuesday, is the New York Short Film Shootout Best of the Best 1 at Treehouse Theater in New York City. I don't know when you're listening to this, but if it's before 8 o'clock on Tuesday, December 16th, you might be able to come hang out with us at Treehouse Theater, 154 West 29th Street in New York City. We're showing films that we have had as part of the New York Short Film Shootout series. The ones that are voted audience favorite have been brought back, and we're going to show them tonight along with a couple of producers' picks. So my time right now is very limited, as I'm sure it is with yours, because it's that time of year. Hanukkah has begun. Christmas is here. There's Kwanzaa. Ramadan is in there somewhere, and there's lots of activity, and everybody's busy. Everybody's running around. It's, I got to get gifts for people, and then wrap some gifts, and then deliver some holiday cheer to them. And then there's parties all around, and there's just nonstop action until December 26th, when we all just collapse. And I think I'm kind of looking forward to that. I know growing up, my mom's favorite day was the day after Christmas, when all of it would just stop. And I never understood it, because my favorite day was, of course, Christmas. And I thought that was the awesome day. But when you become an adult and you become a parent, it's, you do kind of like when it all slows down and everybody, is off from work and nobody's going crazy anymore. So that's what I am looking forward to. So I'm keeping this introduction short today. We'll get into our bit with David Carl. But before that, we got to thank Banuba, banuba.net. They're the people who provide the music at the beginning, middle, and end of this show. Go check them out, Banuba, BANOOBA.net. You can download some of their music, find out where they will be playing live, and check them out, because I think they're awesome. If you are interested in doing a little something on this program, you can go to the website and see the show notes for today's episode, and there is a little bit of a description of how you can record your voice and be included at the beginning of the show in the introduction. As you heard my little girl Caroline, she's in the beginning of the show this week and has been for the past several weeks, but I'd like to have a rotating bunch of people do the intro for this. So if you want to be part of that, go check out the details at bringyourownlunch.com. And I'm also looking for somebody who can redo the artwork for iTunes on this. So if you're an artist and you want to get involved and you want to work out some sort of trade deal, I'm more than happy to do that with you. Just send me an email, dave@bringyourownlunch.com. I think that's it. Let's get into it with David Carl. Funny guy, nice guy, interesting guy. Here's David. Enjoy. You can chew now. Okay. You can. It's okay for you to chew. I'm not against somebody enjoying a snack.
Okay.
Or what might happen. We actually might have some Chinese food show up.
I think that'll happen.
Yeah, which would be fine, because it'll be the first delivery I'll have during the course of a show.
Right.
I don't mind that at all.
I'm happy to be the first delivery.
Yeah, you're the first Chinese food delivery during the podcast that I created, which puts you in a category all into your... I don't know what that means. Anyway. You were doing some guitar shopping? What was that?
Yeah, I was a Guitar Center, and I have a pickup on my guitar that has been broken for like 3.5 years. Uh-huh. And I'm finally like thinking, I should get this fixed or get a new guitar. Or, yeah. So
you ended up going with...
The guy was just awesome. He was the repairman, but also a very like subtle salesman. Uh-huh. I trusted him though, because he clearly had been doing it for like 3 decades, and it just knew Ibanez guitars, knew Ibanez hardware. He knew his stuff, so I was like, all right, this is cool. Yeah. I trust you, and I like you, and yeah, sure. I'll but I told him I'll think about it, which every salesman hates to hear.
It's like that big look on their face like, I just spent 15 minutes talking to you and you're going to buy anything, you dick. Yeah.
And that, I think, is what made me think he was so good, because he didn't do that face. And I was like, you're really good. You play the long game, sir.
Yeah.
And I like that.
Meanwhile, he's just an idiot. He's just a simpleton who's like, I enjoy talking to that guy.
That would be right.
He's made $30 this year in commissions.
But he's happy.
But he's a
happiest man in New York City.
What kind of guitar do you have? You said Ibanez.
I have an Ibanez. And
what kind of guitar?
It's an acoustic electric.
Okay, yeah.
And yeah, I mean,
it goes both ways.
It does go both ways, and it fit my pocketbook in terms of cost a few years ago. That's where I'm at still. He was like, you should invest in like a Taylor for like $1,500 to $2,000.
Oh my, jeez,
I'd love to.
Yeah.
He's like, we have a financing plan. It's like, I don't think I'll be passing your credit
salesman.
test.
Yeah, there's our salesman right there.
Yeah. But he was so slick. Not even slick. Yeah, he was like the I'm not a salesman.
You're going to be up late tonight thinking about him, aren't you?
I am.
You're going to be like, oh, that dude.
Yeah, man.
You had a connection.
We did have a connection.
I'll
be back. I get really excited about a good customer service experience.
I do too. Too. Yeah, no, I get into it when people do things right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really nice when they're just honest and friendly and actually listen to you instead of like pretending. It's so nice.
Yeah. Now, I will say, I have a feeling that some of that is a reflection of what you bring to the table, because you're just one of those guys.
Well, I try to remind myself. It takes reminding, because New York alone will get you frustrated and make you selfish and make you like, oh, just get out of my way. Like sometimes I feel like I'd Liam Neeson and Taken. Like, why are you in my way? You know? Like, what am I doing? Like, I don't have a daughter. I'm not saving my daughter. I'm late because I left late. And now I'm pushing people out of the way.
You're saving the little girl inside all of us.
Right.
So where did you grow up? That's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah, I grew up in Dallas, Texas.
You and I know from that area that people from that area almost can be very atypically Texan. Right? Because you don't seem Texan particularly.
Yeah, I don't know what it was. My parents were not from Texas, although Oklahoma and Tennessee. So all I can say about that is that I think they wanted to leave the towns they were from. My mom really liked her town. My dad, he was meant for a big city. Like he wanted to be in a big city, and he studied. He studied religion, then so he's a pastor. But he went and so he got his master's in divinity, and then he got a PhD in speech. And this is all to say, I think you grow up sounding like your parents a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And so my parents didn't sound that Texan. They didn't behave that Texan.
Yeah.
I get that. You know what I mean? They were like very interested in like, hey, let's be city people.
Right,
you know,
right.
We left the small town to be city folk.
Yeah, I kind of have that too, because I grew up on Long Island, but my parents didn't necessarily sound like they were from Long Island.
Okay, right. Yeah, and you sound like you could be from anywhere.
Exactly, yeah. and that's been a good benefit for me.
Yeah,
and I don't know anybody could particularly peg me from being a specific place in the country.
Right,
and you're kind of like that, and that probably should help you, especially in this business.
And it was, I think it's all just helpful to like be, I don't know, a little flexible, I guess. I think to your question, like in Texas and Dallas, like if you're like quote unquote Texan, I think part of it is that like you've been there for a couple of generations, and there's like families that are friends together. And my parents just kind of showed up and made friends with a few random people, but weren't part of like a big clique or anything. Right. So then I wasn't, and so I sort of found friends that were like, oh, like this guy's in band and this guy likes Star Trek and I like Star Wars, but I don't care. We have fun together. You know what I mean? Like,
you were adaptable enough to make friends from scratch.
Well, I wasn't born into some group of friends.
Yeah. So you had to learn how to manage friendships with people,
which I'm happy about because I had to make choices.
No. I think that there are a lot of people who, for whatever reason, get caught up in a community that's so tight knit that it's hard to think outside of that community.
And it can be fun. Like, don't get me wrong. I have friends that like were part of those groups and had a great time and still keep in touch with. I'm not like, oh man, look at all those losers on Facebook who have 4 kids. Like, no, they're happy. Like, exactly. There's nothing wrong with that. It just wasn't my path at all.
Was this Dallas proper or was it a suburb?
It is. It is Dallas proper. It's just so funny because it's just one giant suburb.
Okay. Yeah.
but it's what it looks like. You know what I mean? Like you wouldn't. Yeah. It's hard to tell where the line is. But we were in Dallas proper.
Oh, okay. So and what school did you go to there?
I went to Lake Highlands. The Lake Highlands Wildcats.
So go Wildcats.
Yeah, go Wildcats. Pride and tradition. It was like we had a winning tradition as a football team.
And being from Texas, that was probably somewhat religious experience. Right?
A little bit, yeah. So my dad was a preacher, so that was like, I don't know, that made life easier, honestly, in Texas.
Okay,
having your dad be a preacher. Like,
and nobody looked at you funny, maybe like, hey, maybe you're not one of us.
Right.
Your father's a pastor. It's almost like a get out of jail free card.
A little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, certainly like with teachers, I learned at an early age that if I apologized hard enough and like just started crying as soon as I had like been caught, the punishment was less, which was a terrible lesson to learn because it made me a little weasel that I had to unlearn my weaselness.
When did you unlearn to be a weasel?
Not until like college.
Oh, yeah. The way your expression there was for a second, it almost seemed like you were going to say, not until last week.
I mean, really, like college, and that on a big level, and I didn't do it all the time, but like I would do little weaselly things, and it was like all with the illusion that I was like this good student, which I think is worse than just being a jerk. Like that everyone knows you are.
Yeah.
So I'm glad I needed to stop that. That was bad.
But you navigated through like elementary and high school without any real major scratches.
I got away with stuff.
Now, being the son of a pastor, was that a little more or a little less incentive to kind of like break away?
I mean, I think there was more there than I realized. Like I thought I was this like neutral preacher's kid, because when you're a preacher's kid, you're aware of what it is to be a preacher's kid, and you hear about preacher's kids that are insane.
Yeah.
And then kids that are like really, really like uptight. And so I fancied myself somewhere in the middle. But I mean, I think I was affected by it just like everybody else is.
Sure. You can't not be.
It wasn't a judgmental household though. That was the thing. It wasn't like, don't do this, don't do that. My dad's approach to sin was like, life's easier if you avoid some of these basic things. Like, we would talk about...
It sounds like what religion kind of should be, which is like a basic set of rules to live by versus like, you're going to hell if you step on that crack.
Right. That was the thing. That was never what it was for us. And it was always like, the golden rule, the 10 Commandments, and, I think those were the big ones, honestly, and that we would talk about at home. And my dad was like, 10 Commandments are kind of like just a common sense, like your life will be easier kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, don't
kill anyone and your life will be easier.
Go figure. Yeah. Man, good point. Yeah.
Don't steal stuff and life will be easier. Okay.
Yes. So it's more commonsensical if you approach it that way.
Which I think is very Presbyterian. I know there's like lots of different...
Is that the denomination? Yeah. Okay. See, I grew up... my dad was raised Jewish. My mom was raised Catholic, but I really didn't have any specific religion. So what is Presbyterian?
It comes from the Church of Scotland, which comes from the Reformation. So, Martin Luther posts the 95 Theses and breaks away from the Catholic Church. This thus begins all of the Reformed churches.
Protestantism.
Yeah. And then it split off in lots of different ways. And one way found its way to Scotland, which was John Knox, Church of Scotland. And then the Presbyterian Church, basically when it gets to the United States, becomes the Presbyterian Church USA. Okay. And then it's a worldwide thing now. So it's just like really like organized and all about the church itself calling the shots, and not a central church.
You're not an affiliate of the Pope.
Yeah, there's no Pope, there's no bishop, there's nothing like that. Every year there's something called the General Assembly where like things are voted on a national level, and people from every single presbytery is like a county, and a synod is kind of like a state. SYNOD. Okay, it's about the size of a state. And Presbyterians like to claim that, the structure of the United States government was inspired by the structure of the Presbyterian Church.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because if there's no
maybe
Pope,
it was.
If there's no Pope, then there's no president. So it's a little bit.
Yeah, it's a little different.
That
but
the House and the Senate and the president thing doesn't exist.
Right.
But,
yeah. But you know how that goes.
Yeah, everybody likes to claim they owned. I invented the word hipster
right.
in college,
right.
And then Seinfeld picked it up, and now everybody in Bushwick is a goddamn hipster.
Right. And it was actually Dave Koenig created it.
It was me. It was me on WRHU radio in college. No.
Oh, you did college radio?
I did do college radio.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
So where did you go to college?
I went to the University of Evansville in Evansville, Indiana.
Why Indiana?
Well, I was looking at theater schools, and my parents were not very interested in me in going to either coast. Certainly not New York City as an 18-year-old. Which is interesting if you
think about it, because your dad had such a yearning for a big city.
Yeah.
But he didn't want you to go to LA or New York.
I just think they knew that I was pretty wild, even though But
you were a tame wild.
Yeah. I think they knew that I was going to be too crazy.
Okay.
I think they knew. And I think they were right. I think I would have been.
Well, what to you would, well, we'll get into it.
Well, just burning money on going out and partying. You know what I mean? Like instead of kind of studying. So we looked at these schools in the Midwest, and Evansville took only 7% of their applicants, which was close to Juilliard and Carnegie Mellon at the time. And so just going on that alone, I didn't know anyone who had gone there. I was like, well, let me go visit this school too. And so we went to visit, and everyone was super nice, and I got to see a show, and it was great. Like, it was really, really good. The acting was amazing. And I was really blown away too by how good everybody was, even in like the tiniest part. And then so friendly. And I was like, oh, this would be fun. If I got in here, I think I would want to go. And then they had some scholarships too. So whatever. I applied and I got in, and I had a really fun trip when I went to audition. And I went there twice. And so, I was like, all right. So I went to Evansville, and it was a blast.
So your aim with college was to get into a theater program. Did you do stuff when you were younger?
I did. I did stuff in high school. That's when I really got the bug. But I did church musicals.
Okay.
As a child.
I'm sure there's a lot of people get their start in theater through church.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, because you put on these shows. I mean, we didn't do Christmas pageants. We did Old Testament musicals. Like My Way or Yahweh, and It's Cool in the Furnace.
Are you kidding?
Yeah.
That's what they were called?
Yeah. Those were the real names. Yeah. And they're these hip little, and then the biggest
What kind of music do you set to It's My Way or Yahweh?
Or Yahweh.
They were like Broadway type musicals.
Yeah, Broadway-ish. Yeah, they were okay.
Who came up with these?
I forget the names of the composers now, but there were a couple that did a bunch.
But were they something that other churches
had done and then sold them? So it was like a small business within the church world. So I did another one called Billy Best, which was about the prodigal son. And so that was a bigger production because it was in junior high. And so I played the prodigal son. And I'm actually the second son in my family, and there's just two of us.
Yeah.
And my brother's really, really responsible, and for our family, I guess I was kind of wild. And if you know the story of the prodigal son, that's the story. And the big brother stays home and works hard, and the prodigal son goes and spends all of his birthright. He asks for his birthright way before he should get it.
Okay.
And he goes and wastes it and then comes home with hat in hand. It's I'm sorry.
And that's you.
And then they take him back, and that's unconditional love, right?
Okay.
And so I played this character, and it was actually really weird to play this character because I had sort of avoided. My dad was good about keeping us out of the spotlight. He didn't want us to do too much. He didn't talk about us too much because he wanted other people to have opportunities and not Yeah,
that makes sense.
He was a preacher's kid.
Okay.
So my grandfather's a Presbyterian minister.
Wow.
So he didn't want us he didn't want it to look here, I'm gonna put my kids on parade all the time.
Right.
So this was the only time that even ever came close to happening. And then it was it happened to be that, this looks an awful lot like who I am.
Yeah, right, yeah.
So it was kind of weird. And then, but within the context of a pretty silly musical.
Right.
I mean, it was fun. It was 1920s era.
That's so
There's
fun.
Flappers. We had all the girls dress up as flappers. And I remember having this scene where this girl was a senior, had this beautiful voice, and she had to sit in my lap and sing to me. I'm I'm
in a church.
14, 15 years old.
Yeah.
You know, and so like everyone, you do something like that in a church musical and people just lose it.
Oh,
like
sure.
They think it's the funniest thing they've ever seen. Like a 15-year-old boy pretending to be a man,
right,
with a woman who is now basically almost an adult woman sitting on his lap, like singing to him.
Hilarious.
It was, yeah, you know what I mean? It's such a different kind of comedy. You know what I mean?
Totally,
to have that much context.
Yeah.
Like that, I'll never do anything like that ever again.
No.
You know?
But, you know, it's interesting you mentioned that your grandfather was a preacher.
Yeah.
You say preacher, pastor, is that interchangeable?
Yeah. Pastor, reverend, you know, it's different. It's just not priest.
Okay. But anyway, he was one of those preacher, pastor, reverends. And your dad was. At any point, did you or your brother consider following in the footsteps?
I think we both did at different points, you know, and when I finally like thought about everything involved in it, I was like, this is not something you do like halfway. Like you have to truly believe you have a calling and 100% want to do every part of the job.
Yeah.
And the reason people would tell me to do it was because they thought I was like, I don't know, like funny or like, oh, you're like your dad. You're a performer like your dad. And
okay,
my dad's a pretty good preacher. And I was like, well, that's not the reason to do it. Right. Everything else needs to be
That's the reason
there.
to become an actor.
Right. Yeah. You know, and I do think the church needs more good preachers. I think that's part of the problem because people stand up there for 20 minutes and talk.
Yeah, no, it's like stand up without the bits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it needs to be good.
Yeah.
It needs to be engaging if
Sure.
you're going to talk that long.
Yeah.
That whole tradition of doing that started when a lot of people weren't literate. So it was like the standard was different. You could be kind of boring because it was like, oh, well, that guy knows how to read, so we'll listen.
Yeah, we'll get the word of whatever from him.
Yeah.
We can't read it ourselves.
It's just a different world. You can't do that now and be lazy about it. You can
true.
Be interesting.
It's almost like there's almost a parallel between that and I think
or don't
politics.
Do it. Yeah.
Or don't do it. Yeah.
Or don't do it. Don't do a sermon. I mean,
right.
Don't do a sermon. Do music. I don't know.
But I think there's a parallel. I mean, at
if
some
you can't
point,
preach, that's awesome.
Yeah, no. I'm with you on that. And in fact, like it almost seemed like with politics, somebody could be the greatest legislator ever.
Yeah.
But if they can't go out on like Letterman and tell a couple jokes,
right,
they'll never get elected.
It's true.
Yeah. So I think there's a little parallel there.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. And it's changed so quickly. But I mean, you know, I don't know. I remember even in the 80s as a child, like people being more patient about listening to a whole speech. You know,
yeah, I've already checked out on what you're saying now. So.
This is what I'm saying.
So let's go ahead to the University of Evansville.
Yes.
The theater program. You said you had a lot of fun, but what kind of training did you get there?
I mean, it was great. I guess it was kind of a smorgasbord of different approaches. Mm-hmm. There was a real focus on just being believable, you know, and committing and making choices with your work when you're acting, like always making really specific choices. And an introduction to different techniques, because the deal with Evansville was it was really good. They were really good at getting people into grad school. That was kind of their thing.
Oh, okay.
So they didn't have money to dump on a showcase in both cities, you know, so they didn't do that. So they got us ready for grad school auditions, and people did pretty well getting into other schools. And so
is that where you went? Or
so I went to Rutgers for grad school.
Okay, all right. So that brought you to New Jersey, which was close to New York City.
Yeah, and then we did a showcase there in both cities, and I had a good time at both. It just it looked like it made more sense to go to New York, so I went to New York.
Interesting.
That was kind of it. You know, I like LA. I was ready to go to LA, but it didn't make as much sense.
What was your original aim when you were thinking about it, either before you went to college or when you went on to graduate school? Like, what did you think you were destined to do in theater or TV or film or whatever? You know,
I don't know. I knew I wanted to make a living doing make believe. You know, and I there was an actor I looked up to a lot named Rich Liccardo at Evansville, who was just amazing always. And you know, I remember one time he was just like, it's just make believe.
Yeah.
That's what we do. It's just make believe. And I thought that stuck with me. I was like that, cause it is every part of it that we do is that, and, you know, commit hard to it and make it really interesting, hopefully. But, it's that. Yeah. And, so I don't know. That was the bug that I got when I was younger. I just knew I liked doing that. I liked
So you had a pretty open mind going into the business about where you wanted to end up.
Yeah, I didn't have like one thing I wanted to do. I do remember seeing Coen Brothers movies in high school and being like, oh, I like that you don't know when you're going to laugh. You're going to laugh at this really dark, twisted story at some point.
Right.
But you don't know when you're going to. And as the creators, they don't know. No one's going to laugh at the same places.
True.
And I love that kind of storytelling. So that if there's one thing I like doing stylistically, it's I guess dark comedies, which is such a broad term.
No, but I think it makes sense. And knowing you, it fits because you are somebody who, I guess if I was thinking about it as a casting director, it's like you can be funny, but there's also this kind of like very empathetic part of your character that's like you can be kind of sad and downtrodden. You're not like you're more like the sad clown than like the carrot top kind of thing.
Right. Well, yeah, I remember I had one teacher in grad school who was like, David, don't ever try to be clever. Don't do that. You're not that kind of. You're not like Steve Martin. You're not like that kind of guy. And I didn't think that was mean. I agreed with her. I was like, that's not the kind of stuff I do. It takes me forever. If I come up with something clever, I stumbled on it organically. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't really. So it was nice. It was actually good to hear that because it allowed me to focus on, all right, let me do stuff with heart that comes from a real organic place, and then let the intelligent structure part of it, left brain part of it, come from that.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I create stuff.
Yeah.
Usually.
And we'll get into the stuff you've created because I think it's really interesting. But you're looking for something.
I'm looking for my. Oh, there it is. Oh, just because there's the Chinese food.
The Chinese food that we aforementioned Chinese food delivery.
And I turned the ringer off, so I'm just looking for it.
All right. Well, our ears are open, our minds are open,
and my stomach.
Your stomach is rumbling. So okay. So you went to Rutgers for their master's program in theater. While you were there, did you get any exposure to New York? Did you do anything in New York?
I did. Okay. So I started taking classes at UCB my first
while you
year
were at
there.
Rutgers.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I mean, looking back, I don't know if it was like the smartest way to do that, but in terms of like getting involved, because I would take a class and then take 4 months off and then take another class.
Oh, okay. Yeah. But it's pretty intense anyway.
I liked it though. It was nice because it really balanced. We were studying the Meisner technique.
Okay. So that's real serious.
Yeah. But improvised, but like no obligation to be funny. In fact, don't try to be, just let it happen when it happens. And you can say no and you can say, but we're like an improv, like yes and. Yes. In Meisner, it's like the truth is bigger than that. You can do whatever you want.
Sure.
In fact, you're supposed to.
Right.
So it was nice to do two next to each other because it instead of confusing me, it actually made each clearer. And so I don't know. I enjoyed that. So that was my biggest exposure with the city. But also, I started my own man with a van company.
Yeah, and there's a story I want to ask about that, but go ahead. You started a man with a van company.
So I was Happy the Van Man.
Happy the Van Man. Oh, Happy the Van Man.
Yeah, which was passed to me by another guy who called himself Happy the Van Man, and he sold.
It's like the Dread Pirate Roberts.
It is. That's what he said. It's like the Dread Pirate Roberts. His name was Happy. He was like 5'2", 150 pounds, and he talked like this. And he didn't even look like that. He was like a shaved blonde hair, but he's from New York originally. He talked like this. He used to be in a hair band in the 90s.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. So he sold TARDIS Rex, which was his van. And then
I'm sorry.
He had a van called TARDIS Rex.
TARDIS Rex.
TARDIS Rex, yeah.
TARDIS. What is that?
It's a reference to, I think,
something king.
It's something. Yeah. Well, yeah. It's the name of, I think, a van in either Spinal Tap or it's an Anthrax reference. I forget.
So it's a band.
Yeah,
van.
I'm embarrassed that I forget, but he sold it and he gave me his name. So anytime someone called him, and he was popular, I would get the business.
That's pretty cool.
And so I had to advertise for like a year, but then after a year, I just got referral calls and it was fun. So I would go to the city all the time. I got to learn the city, moving people, and I got to learn a lot about people. Because they just talk about their lives.
Sure.
When they are moving. A lot of breakups.
Yeah. So you would be literally moving. Like, was there a range of stuff you would move? I mean, would you move one piece versus like moving someone's whole apartment? Or?
I would do a whole studio. I mean, or one bedroom, it would take like 2 trips usually.
Okay.
But I was so much cheaper than everybody else that no one minded. You know, so it was people that like wanted to help me, or I'd get an assistant, still cheaper than everyone else.
Sure. But
I made good money, so it worked out. It was really fun. I mean, and then I liked that it was called Happy the Van Man because I was sort of obligated to be in a good mood. Which
so funny.
Was nice. It's nice to like have to find the positive part of yourself.
Yeah. Now, obviously, you're have moved on from Happy the Van Man.
Yeah.
Did you sell that off to somebody else?
I literally sold the van because it was breaking down so much. But I sold it to a guy who worked for Pep Boys.
Okay.
And he knew he could fix it, so I sold it for just $600.
Oh, okay.
And I kind of told him, like, hey, man, you should think about doing this on the side. Because I wanted it to be, and it's like, if you do, you can call yourself Happy the Van Man. But I've never looked to see if, like, he's out there.
Went and did it, yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't give it. I don't know that I passed it on the way I should have. Because it was sort of like a half pass.
Yeah.
But or a full pass with no follow through to see if he was doing it. There should be someone out there doing it.
There should be. I mean, it's like, Private Roberts was a good gig.
I know.
For Carrie Elway, so.
I know.
Now, there's one story I wanted to talk about since you brought up the van.
Oh, yeah.
Jake Leitz happened to mention this story to me, where you would come into the city with your van.
Yeah.
And do what?
Well, I would move people.
No. Like he told me that you would sometimes, if you were going to be in the city late with the van, what would you do?
I would sometimes sleep in the van. Because I had a futon mattress in the back, which was disgusting. It was gross. I mean, it had everybody's. I probably started the bed bug epidemic. Let's just say that, because
so we found patient 0, folks.
I think I might be the guy because I mean, I would spray it once it became a thing. I would spray that thing every time. But I mean, it was a hive of whatever in villainy.
Where were you? You were living
I was in Rutgers? I was at Rutgers in New Brunswick and then Jersey City.
So why didn't you just drive home? Why did you stay in the city?
Well, if it was really late and I was really tired, I would just
sleep it off.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or I could go have a beer after moving people and then sleep in my van.
Okay. So I
didn't do it a lot. He makes it sound. I did it a couple times.
Okay. Chinese food. We're going to pause right here and come back with David Carl's Chinese food.
Yes.
The food has arrived.
Yes.
The food has arrived. You're going to have to detail some of this, what you've got here.
Oh, yeah.
Well, this is... And then, because you're going to be probably eating it a little bit as we talk, which is fine. But what did you end up getting?
Well, this is a David Carl staple. This is General Tso's chicken.
Okay.
Which I don't think should be too surprising to anyone that knows me. This is... when I find something I like, I get it. And then I get 10 Chinese donuts, so you might want
They're Chinese... Is that what you... These are Chinese donuts. I was not aware...
I didn't know they existed. I mean, they're really just like balls of dough with sugar on them.
Yeah.
Not powdered.
Oh, the package is stapled because these are valuable. Look at those donuts.
They're delicious.
Wow. You get 10 of them.
Yeah, it's just to make it a big enough order.
Okay.
Because I use a credit card.
Now, we were saying that you sometimes slept in the van. And the story Jake Leitz is an actor friend of ours.
I love to hear it.
He told me this story years ago, and it's one of my favorite stories. Okay, so one night you're sleeping in the car.
Yep.
And what happened? Or in the van on the futon mattress that may or may not have started the bed bug epidemic in New York City. and what happened?
Well, I think I know the one he's talking about.
I hope so. Otherwise, we're going to hear a different story, and you're going to have to tell the second one.
I think the story he's talking about happened after the Magnet Theater's Halloween party. And so I did. I got pretty drunk. I was dancing my face off till like 3 or 4 in the morning. And I had to move, I believe, Emily Bryan the next day.
Emily Bryan is another improv actor who we know.
Yeah. And Mike Short was going to help out. He's another improv.
We're dropping all names today. So this is good.
And so, I just knew that. And I had to be at Emily's at 10 in the morning. And I was like, or 11 or something. It was 11. I was like, all right, I'm just going to sleep in the van. So I go in the van and I'm drunk and I close it. And the next thing I remember is the sound of like someone opening my front door. So I'm in the back, right?
You're
taking out the seats. I'm on the futon. And this distinct sound of someone opening a door and then like ambient New York City noise. And I'm like, oh, there's light. And I'm like, that's weird. And then immediately I'm like, oh, this is scary. I'm really scared because someone's breaking into my van. And so let me be really, really still. And then he gets in. I can hear him like I'm at a filthy up front. So like he's just going through stuff. and I could hear him. I'm like, oh man, this is not good.
Now, just to clarify, did he break in or was it not locked?
Well, let me get to it. So,
all right, okay.
So he he's in and he's going, and so finally I just sort of pop up. I pop up and he looks at me like really sharp, and then we're staring at each other. And this is the moment, right here where you're like, when I've thought about if I encounter an assailant or a thief, what will I do? And it's like the options are you fight. I'm not going to fight. That's not me. But so I wasn't surprised by that. I didn't do that. I was like, will I run? Will I run and be terrified and scream and plead for my life?
Right.
I didn't do that either. And instead, we just sort of stared at each other for what felt like a very long time. Long enough for there to be silence. And then I remember it was 11 a.m. because these church nearby, there's a church nearby, and then like these church bells started to ring 11 o'clock. And I was like, oh, church. At church, we used to help the homeless. Oh, and instead of giving the homeless money, we would, take them for breakfast, buy them some food. So that in my mind, so I was like, hey, you hungry? You eating anything yet? Just like we were roommates or something. And we woke up, I was like, hey, man, you want to order some food? Like that tone. And he was like, yeah, actually I am. And I was like, all right, cool. I think this is diffused, but I'm still terrified because I can't see. I can only see his shoulders and up to his head. I can't see his hands.
I imagine in your mental preparation for a possible confrontation with somebody in New York City, it wasn't with a car seat in between.
Yeah. No, and there's just exactly, and I can't see his hands.
Yeah.
So I maintain eye contact. I'm like backing out like a cheetah walking backwards, and he until he gets out. I'm trying to keep my eye on him. So I close the door and I get back, around the front, and then I go back up to by the door where he is, and I was like, all right, cool. Let's go get some breakfast. So what were you looking for anyway? And he was like, oh, just like a screwdriver. I was like, oh, okay. Well, I think I have an extra one. So when I come back, I'll just give you one if I can find it. I was like, oh, okay. So we go in and get in the, there's like a deli right by there on 8th Avenue. And so we go, and I'm just I get like a Powerade. That's all I wanted, like hangover. I wasn't really hungry. Yeah. And he's looking at me like, really, just a Powerade? He's like, oh, no, get whatever you want. Like, get whatever you want. I don't care. Like, I didn't want to be like a stingy, you know what I mean?
You didn't want to be a stingy victim.
Like, at best, it was still going to only cost $7, but it wasn't being the nicest man. But I was like, so he's got a sandwich and he got a drink. And so, and I really didn't want anything. So we go back out, and I get to the van. I'm like, oh, so how'd you break in? I wanted to and it's like, your door was open. I was like, oh, that's about right. That sounds right. Okay, and then I'm starting to feel like, well, I should have gotten broken into.
Yeah, of course, it's your fault.
Yeah, it's my fault, which is victim mentality.
Exactly. Yeah. It's important for victims to know that it's probably their fault.
Right. Yeah. So I'm doing that, and then so I'm like, okay, well, but the reason that came up was because I realized I had locked the door to when we went to the deli, and then I didn't have my keys. So that's why I asked him that, because I didn't have my keys, and so. Sometimes I would sleep with my keys in my hand. I don't know why, but almost like a golem, my precious keys. And so when he scared me, I dropped the keys out of my hand. I haven't told this story in a while. I forgot that. So the keys are in the van now. Oh. And that's when I was like, hey, you know how to break in, right? And he was like, no, you left the door open. I was like, oh, but I think maybe sometimes cops have Slim Jims. So if a cop drives by, we can ask him and he can help us get in. And he's like, all right, man. So now I'm telling this guy how to get in my van.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So
you're refining his skills for him in addition to giving him food.
Totally.
Yeah.
So sure enough, a cop drives by, and I'm like, oh, this is a moment where I could just turn this guy in, or be his friend now.
This is brilliant.
So these cops drive by. I'm like, hey, do you guys have a Slim Jim? He's like, nah, we don't really do that anymore. Insurance. Sorry, we can't really do that. And I'm like, all right. And then so they drive off, so I don't turn the guy in. So then we're talking. I'm trying to make small talk, and it's like, hey man, I guess you were probably a little scared of me, you're like, who's this guy in this van? And he's like, no. He just looked at me like, I know exactly who you are. You're 25, recently graduated college, probably still get help from your parents. You know what I mean? Wow. Like, you're an idiot who didn't leave his van locked. Like I think he sized me up fast. You know what I mean?
That's amazing.
So then I was like, oh yeah, I got AAA. So because we're still locked out of the van.
And I like how you say we're still locked out.
Yeah, we're a team now. We're a team. So he wanted to be in it too. So I called AAA and they came so fast, dude. It was like a beautiful day. It was Sunday morning, so there's like no major things that they were attending to. Someone came in 10 minutes. So the guy comes, opens it up. I get my keys, and then the AAA guy leaves. And then the guy was like looking at me like we weren't done. And I was like, oh, no. I even got him. I found him the screwdriver, and I gave him the screwdriver. And then even after that, he was like looking at me like we weren't done. And I was like, do you, what's up, man? And he's like, give me a couple dollars. I'm like, no, man, I'm sorry. It's been nice getting to know you this morning, but I sorry, no. And like, that was like, I can't even be upset at him because like he's such a hustler. Like he was so like ingrained, man. Yeah, it's like, and I get it. Like I was a sucker. Like how much can I get out of this sucker? I mean, I could have given him $100. Who knows? He didn't know. Yeah, it was so nice, or like hired him.
Yeah, so right.
I found out later.
I'm amazed that he actually lives in this apartment with you now.
Hey, that's my roommate, Tim Gerbach. That was Tim Gerbach.
It was Tim Gerbach, yeah. He can size a guy up.
No, but like, I found out later that there was a guy in the neighborhood that had been taking air conditioners off of the windows and selling the parts. No. And so I didn't help someone who was poor. I aided and abetted a thief by giving them the tool that they needed.
That's unreal.
Yeah. So that is my sleeping in van story.
That's one of my. It still remains, and it's even better when you tell it versus hearing it secondhand. One of my favorite stories ever. It still is. And now I want to track down this guy, not to turn him in, because I want to hear it from his angle.
Oh, it'd be amazing. Yeah. It would be so good to hear from his angle. Oh, I think he would make fun of me ruthlessly.
I think,
which is fine. I mean, I was like a classic like idiot kid who moved here from suburbs. Oh, God. Like, I'm going to sleep in my van in the big city, like, man, all right, get wasted.
Since then, you have smartened up a bit.
Yeah, I think so.
You've climbed the ladder, and I mean, you've done a bunch of commercial work, and you do voiceovers and stuff.
Yeah.
But I think the thing that I'm most impressed with is the stuff that you create, because you've put together a bunch of different shows, and some of which have gotten really phenomenal attention. So I'll just introduce it by saying Gary Busey. When did the Gary Busey thing begin?
The Gary Busey thing started with a Nick Nolte impression that I did when I was doing this character named Frank Peppercorn, and I would end it was like a bad stand-up stalkery guy.
Okay.
And I would end every set with going, all right, this is my last impression. This is what Nick Nolte says every time he finds out that Gary Busey got a part that was intended for him. I like fuck with my hair and like,
Yeah.
Ah, damn it. And that was like my closer. I would always do that. And it always kind of worked. And so Whitney Mears, who writes sketches and is a comedy person, she asked Boris Hyken, who's a good friend of mine, do you know anyone who can do Gary Busey? And Boris just said my name, but I didn't do Gary Busey. I did Nick Nolte. And so she contacted me. Was like, can you do this live show at UCB? Play Gary Busey. I wrote a 1-800-GET-BUSEY. It's a commercial parody.
Okay, yeah.
And so I did it, and then she was like, "Oh, can we film it?" And so she got like a real like crew, and like we went to a studio.
Wow.
And made it look like this infomercial. So like it was a pretty well produced commercial parody. So I did that like 4 years ago, and then so I just had that, and so cut to 18 months ago, I get a notice for an audition for Point Break Live. And I was like, well,
Point Break Live being a live version of the movie Point Break.
Yeah, where someone from the audience plays Keanu Reeves. And you know what, at the time...
Somebody in the audience plays Keanu Reeves?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And I didn't, my association with the show, I didn't really know that much about it. I knew that it had run in LA for 6 years, so I was like, that was pretty cool. And I'm not above doing shows like that. I wasn't at the time. I had done Awesome 80s Prom, which is like an interactive show and pretty silly and fun.
You were one of many Awesome 80s Prom alumni I've had on this show. It's amazing.
Oh, really? Who else?
Kathy Searle.
Oh, yeah. She's great. Yeah, she was one of the originals.
When did you join that cast?
I joined it in 2006 or 7.
And who were you in it with?
So I was in it with
we're taking a
Michael Barra. I think you had him on.
Michael Barra is on the show.
Michael Barra was on it then. Jess Regan, Kate Riley. I think Jeff Hiller came once, and I can't remember if he was on when I was on. I don't think he was. Kathy did once. She came once.
Okay.
And like sat in again because she was sort of done with it by then.
Right.
But yeah, man, it was so much fun.
Yeah.
So but I wasn't above doing those kinds of fun shows.
Sure.
At all.
Yeah.
But when you see a notice for something like that, you're like, okay, I'm not sure what this is going to be.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I don't know, and I didn't know anybody involved in it. And I was like, all right, well, let's just roll the dice because Gary Busey sounds fun.
Yeah. Let's take a moment to offer advice and educate other people because. So part of my goal is hopefully someone will walk away with this with some good ideas for what to do for themselves. You're talking about looking at breakdowns posted somewhere, which is just a casting notice. Like we're looking for somebody to play X, Y, Z. Yeah. What's your thought process going into something like that? Like you sort of mentioned it, but when you usually see a casting notice, how do you approach it?
Well, I mean, the first thoughts are like, okay, what's the gig? Where is it? How much money? Who's directing? Who wrote it? And all that stuff. And then like, is it a part I'm excited about? Is it one I can probably play? And stuff like that. And you weigh all of those things. And then, ideally you audition as much as you can. So you don't want to be too picky, right? Because you go out there and get out there. But you get more excited about some things than others, obviously. This one, I was really excited about the part because I was like, Gary Busey. Yeah. Well, that's something I can do. Sure. I can go in there and do that. I've done it before. And I was like, when in your life do you get an audition notice where you've got a link to a professional video you made?
Yeah, you already have a body of work
put in with
that specific thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, this is cool. So I don't know. That was the thought process on that one.
Sure.
And so I submitted it and I went in and auditioned and that's the most fun I've ever had in an audition because they want me to fuck with the reader a lot like this because that's what we have to do in the show.
And that's probably what Busey would do.
Right. Totally.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh my God, this guy's the most fun person to play ever because to me, the thing with playing Busey is this guy is saying whatever comes to his mind and doing whatever comes to his mind the second he does it. And it's very playful. So I didn't want to focus on like, oh, he's angry or crazy or like, yeah.
Just pure id.
He's pure id.
Yeah.
So he's impulsive. So yeah, sometimes he'll have an angry outburst, but like it's a lot of what I'm about to say is I think a word that he would say, a love burst. Like lately he seems to just love life and love everybody aggressively.
Yeah.
And wants to connect aggressively.
Yeah. A bunch of times last night he does an Amazon commercial and it's like, that's the nice Busey right there. Yeah.
Well, that's where he's at now. He's married again to his second wife.
Okay.
And they have a 4-year-old son together. And I think they're really good for each other. I think she must be good for him because he's really like it seems like he's trying to be more positive. I mean, this is all from just like interviews.
Sure.
The stuff you see online.
It's better than what he seemed like when he was, like presenting at the ESPY Awards years ago. And it's like, what the hell are you talking about?
Well, I mean, he had a traumatic brain injury in the 80s and then he
OD'd. Not insignificant, Yeah.
And then he had a near-death experience in 95. So, I mean,
So you've done your research on Busey.
Yeah. I mean, I've done about as much as I can short of, meeting him and doing a documentary on him, which I would like to do. That's a whole other thing. But
the Point Break Live, that show went up where?
So it went up we started at the Bell House and then we did this sort of like whirly gig of Littlefield and Knitting Factory and Bell House. We did Webster Hall twice. We're still doing it. We're touring it with it now as well.
You were just up in Boston, right?
We're going to Boston. We were just in Hartford.
Hartford.
And Baltimore more recently. And we're going to do Highline Ballroom here in town on January 30th. But yeah, man, that show's basically, that show is maybe the most fun I've ever had, like an ensemble. The cast is so positive and wonderful. We're all really good friends now. And I didn't really know any of them except one girl that came on later. I know. And then another guy who's now an understudy who I know. But everyone else was new and just so funny and so nice. And it's the silliest show. I mean, it's like the end of Midsummer Night's Dream, like with the mechanicals, but for the whole show.
That's hilarious.
And that's everybody's favorite part of that play anyway.
Yeah.
And so it's like, let's just do this homespun version of this movie with like cheap props and cheap scenery and just have fun.
And it's a silly movie to begin with.
Yeah,
it's probably the most ridiculous movie I can think of.
It's like watching kids play. It really is. When I watch like the guys up with the surfers do their scenes, like it's like watching. It reminds me of being 10 years old and playing Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves or something. Great. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's what it feels like. And then someone from the audience is like Keanu. Yeah, so it's like
that's
the best.
That's bizarre and awesome.
And there's a girl who holds the cue cards who's like an amazing dancer and fighter, and so she tags in to do the fights.
Oh, hilarious.
And she's like, I don't know. She's so good. She's like this ball of light. So she's sort of like the Keanu in a way because she does the cards and she plays them. Yeah, man, it's super fun.
What kind of response critically have you gotten? I mean, it sounds like people like it a lot.
It got really solid reviews in September like a year ago when it came out. And I think that helped a lot. I think it's word of mouth though that's keeping it going right now. It helps that it ran for 7 years in LA. So we got people that saw it there and moved here and like they've heard about it.
It's got a little bit of a pedigree. Are you aware if anybody from the original movie has had any thoughts about it?
Oh yeah, they all support it. So like Bigelow has talked about it and liked it and seen it.
Wow.
And, I think Keanu went to LA maybe. I know Busey went. There's footage of Busey going in LA and jumping up on stage.
Oh wow.
Making a ruckus.
Holy cow.
But I mean he loves it.
Yeah.
And I think he said it was one of the most creative things ever created. It's something like that. He has a quote.
That sounds like him.
Yeah. It's something he thinks it's like a beautiful piece of art. Which I mean, in a way, it is like it's commercial and it's entertainment, but it's really fun. Like people, the audience has. It's like being a professional wrestler. I think. Because they cheer. Like you're not just going for. Yeah, you want them to cheer for Johnny Utah. Mm-hmm. And then, like, you want them to cheer, like, shout out the lines with you. It's really not just laughs. It's funny to, like, play for more than laughs.
I think there's not enough of what makes professional wrestling awesome being done on a stage.
Yeah.
It's still not captured properly. But that sounds like it's exactly what you're saying.
It is a lot like it. And there's, like, blood and water. We spray the audience and wear ponchos. I mean, it's fun, man. It's a fun show.
That is awesome. Now, you spun off your character.
Right.
So tell me about the show you did with Just Busey.
Yeah, so I mean I was like, I want to make my own show. I had made a one-man show before, and I wanted to make another one. And I was like, I got to do something with Busey. Like people are cheering his name before he comes on stage when they see him entering. Like that means this guy's in the air, and like I happen to do him. I'm an idiot if I don't do something with it.
Sure,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like I'm in my 30s. If I'm not making like practical business decisions with my career, I'm like not doing something right. So I was like, it felt like I had to do something. It's like, okay, so what would Busey do? And I was like, what would Busey not do? What's the thing he is like the furthest from what he would do, but that's why he would.
Right.
It's like Shakespeare.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't find anything in his research about, and my research about him doing theater.
Anything classical.
It's a lot of like comedy. Mm-hmm. He was on a comedy team in Tulsa called Mazeppa Papazoidi with Gaylord Sartrain.
I've heard about that.
Yeah. Bill Hader talks about it in his Mark Maron podcast.
Okay, sure.
And he's, it's amazing. Like it's like the early 70s and they're just making up sketches and doing them in like local Tulsa cable. So I could find that, but I couldn't find theater. And I was like, well, then Shakespeare is really far away.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be fun? And like,
sure.
And the more I thought about Gary Busey doing Shakespeare, it made me laugh just thinking about it. And then I was like, all right, what play? My first thought was Hamlet. And then I went all the way around the barn. And then I came back to Hamlet. Mm-hmm. My director, who I knew I wanted to work with, was like, yeah, it's got to be Hamlet. That's like that's the one everyone knows.
Sure.
And then I've been obsessed with the play since I was 15. Every opportunity I got to study it, I would like dive deep into it. So like it really made sense to do that. And then there's a festival called SoloCom that Toby Knopps and Peter Michael Marino ran at the time, and now Peter Michael Marino is taking that on. But Toby, I was like, Toby, I want to do SoloCom, and I have this show that I did already. He's like, no, it's got to be new stuff. You can't do something. Oh, wow. You can't do something old. Like you have to do something new. So him saying that like actually made me book that date for SoloCom and then have to write it when I did.
Sometimes you got to do that. You got to give yourself that deadline.
Yeah. And he said no to me. Like he said no to doing another thing. And that meant I created that show when I did.
Right. Right.
So I always mention that, like, thanks Toby. Cause he made me do that in a way. So I created it for SoloCom. And we did it the first time there. And
so it's Gary Busey
doing Hamlet by himself.
All the characters.
Yeah. With puppets and multimedia and songs and no dance really. A little, but not a lot of dance.
A Busey dance, if you will.
Yeah. And there's, there's art that he's made that's projected.
That's so great.
Yeah. It's fun. It's just fun. It's just really, really, it was fun to create and it's fun to do.
And it had a pretty, you started at the SoloCom, but then it went on to.
So we got the New York International Fringe Festival. And, that was something I've always been scared to do because I just have friends that have done it and, had varying levels of success.
Sure. Yeah. That's sort of what the Fringe is. You don't, it's a mixed bag of success.
You really don't know. But like everyone was saying, you got to do the Fringe, you got to do the Fringe. People I don't know were saying it. I was like, well, I guess for some reason, if all these people are saying it, I should do it. So we decided to do it. And we really kind of, we attacked it with a specific plan and tried to learn the festival and learn the way it works. And I think that helped. And we had people who knew the festival that we were talking to that helped us. And I'm glad we did that. I say we, Nicole Biancasino is my director. When I keep saying we, that's what I'm talking about.
I'm glad you specified.
Because we've created 3 shows together now. And so we're a bit of a team at this point.
Which are the shows?
The Power of Me, which is self-help seminar.
Is that the first one you did?
That's the first one before SoloCom. Just at the Pit, we did one. And then the third one is this 100 Impressions in 30 Minutes that I recently did. She's my director for that. But so yeah, when I say we, that's who. And we did the festival and, thankfully people came and, the reviewers were very kind, very nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And I mean, I've never had that experience and it's wonderful, and it, cause it helps get people there, for whatever reason, reviews help people come. And you do so much on your own, especially with a one-man show. Yeah. I mean, we had an Indiegogo campaign. I made 70 personal thank you videos for people. I made 21 pieces of art for people. You just do a million crazy things to get people to your shows. Yeah. And so when you finally get some reviews, it's like, it's nice when they're good. Yeah, for your ego, but also thanks for helping with the marketing. Yeah. That's the thing that's really, I don't know, for me, means a lot to me.
It's the hardest part of doing what we do is getting people to actually see it.
Yeah. And you have to get out and do it a lot. You have to do it enough so that people will talk about it. And I get it. I guess do enough different things that you stumble on something that for some reason people like. Yeah. I love this stuff that I did 5 years ago that only 5 people were in the audience for. I personally think that stuff is amazing. Yeah. But no one else did. Yeah. Or those 5, you know what I mean? But you have to do, I think, all of those things to
getting your reps in, or
Well, yeah. I think it is a numbers game, and you don't. I think it's impossible to know what people are gonna like. Yeah. In a quote unquote big way. I don't even know. This show did pretty well at the Fringe, and we got the extension, and that was great. It was an amazing experience to have people coming and like the show, and we're still going to do it again. We have a date for Florida.
Oh, wow.
We're going to Florida in March.
Wow. How did that come about?
Someone saw it at the Fringe and wanted us to come to their theater.
Wow.
So it has a life. It's going to continue.
That's great.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. I've still not been doing this that long. 8 years is still, I think, a short amount of time.
It is.
But it's long enough to realize you do just have to do a lot of different things.
Yeah.
And then
career is made up of hopefully for you will have a career that will be another 40 years in the making, at least.
I hope so.
If you look at that, 40 plus the 8 you've already done, 48 years, almost 50 years.
Yeah.
You're going to have to do a lot of stuff in that.
So much. And
it makes every one little thing you do seems so much more, it seems less critical in context.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think the only thing I think that the ideas that I'm working with a lot now are, the biggest one is the idea that the journey itself is the reward. Like, it's sort of similar to the idea that like success is a journey, not a destination. But I grew up with rewards. I grew up with getting, like a bit more allowance or candy bars.
Right.
I liked winning prizes, and I was like, well then I need to change my reward system, and mine will be the journey. And if I can enjoy each moment of what I'm doing every day for real and make that my goal, just to keep like reminding myself to do that, life will be more fun and my work will be better consequently. And I've been really trying to do that kind of the past 18 months or so. And I've noticed, I've noticed a change. It's definitely been the fullest 18 months I can think of in my whole life. It feels more full than the other years that came before it, honestly. There were chunks in there that were also kind of like that. But I don't know. It's been nice to play with that idea.
It's good advice. I think it's hard to see that sometimes when you're in the thick of it.
Yeah.
And have give yourself the benefit of perspective, because we are literally in the thick of it every day of our lives.
Right.
But to look at it in those terms, I think for me,
just everything expands.
Yeah. Like for me, I grew up with a dad who owned his own company, and through him, I got the sense of how to look at success. And it's never based on day to day or week to week or month to month or even year to year. Sometimes you have to look at it in stretches, or else you're going to drive yourself nuts. So like when people say, how do you deal with auditioning? It's like, because none of them can be too important. Yeah. I look at it as a year, and sometimes you can say, hey, I had a terrible year. Right. But if you look at it in a 3-year stretch, it's like, well, I did okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Farmers, they have droughts they have to deal with. And if they look at a year, they probably kill themselves sometimes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're right.
Like, if you're a farmer, you have to look at your whole life and know that like things will come around.
Right.
This is the business I'm in. I'm dependent on nature, and I'm going to have years that are just terrible. Yeah. Yeah. And we don't know what to do.
And we are more like farmers than I ever realized, now that you've said it.
Everyone I know that's actually worked on a farm is like, you idiot. Yeah. It's like, I don't know that many, but
it does make sense. What you're saying, there's a truism that extends beyond our career, which sometimes feels completely unique. But when you look at it in another way, we realize that what we do in certain ways is no different from what anybody does, or no different from what a lot of other people do.
It's really not. I really don't think it is. I had one friend once at a talk back, the eternal question that happens at theater talkbacks after a play. This lady said, how do you memorize all those lines? It seems so difficult. It's such a hard profession. And he said, anything you want to do in your life, you're going to open a pizza shop or a donut shop, that's going to be difficult. You're going to have to get up at 4 a.m. You're going to work your butt off all day. You're going to sweat a lot. People are going to upset you, and you're not going to go home till probably like 10 or 11 at night. Anything you do is difficult. Yeah. So okay, we have some parts of our job that are difficult, but mostly it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, nobody.
Yes, I have to learn lines.
Yeah, nobody has any sort of telethons for us based on how difficult our job is. Yeah.
No, there are parts that are hard. Yeah, there are fears that you have to overcome to do it.
Hard. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Like coal mining's hard. I don't know. Being a brain surgeon is hard. Yeah. My roommate's going to medical school. That's difficult, and it's great because I come home and I'm like, oh man, I'm so exhausted. And this has been like the busiest year of my life. And it's like, we looked at a shoulder today. We poked around inside someone's shoulder today, and I had to learn the name of every tendon and muscle and bone. I'm like, cool. Yeah, I'll stop complaining.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I'm gonna go write jokes about Gary Busey. Right. So what's the 100 impressions in 30 minutes?
It's exactly what it sounds like. I do 100 impressions in 30 minutes. The first half is where I kind of burn through them with like monologues and different things. And then with cards. I just show cards as I go through. And then the second half is like improv games, like audience suggestions. And
so like almost like short form?
Kind of like short form, yeah. It's like whose line is it anyway, but with one person.
One person doing many, many different celebrities.
Yeah.
Is that how you remember all the voices, the cards?
Is it, say again, so how I remember
You remember all the, who are the people you do impressions of?
So I do the presidents that have been recorded, which goes to does it go to?
Roosevelt?
It goes to
Roosevelt?
Arthur wasn't. It goes way past Roosevelt. Yeah, I couldn't believe how far.
Earlier than Roosevelt.
Yeah, Cleveland. Yeah, it's because so is Grover Cleveland.
One of Lincoln that they discovered.
No.
Okay. So I'm just an idiot.
No, you're not. I think I think there was so much talk about the voice that Daniel Day-Lewis used.
Yeah.
I think that you might think that came from
maybe
recording.
It came from that. Maybe I'm thinking of a different president.
I think they wrote stuff about him, and then they used what they found that they wrote about the voice to come up with that voice he used.
Right. So you do all the presidents that we know the voices of.
Yeah. So that's like 20. And then I do a variety of like politicians and cartoon characters. Yeah. And,
is it literally 100?
It's literally 100. Okay. It's a little bit more,
100 plus. At least you don't cheapen it.
Yeah.
97 would be, people would have to ask for
refunds. No, they would. I mean, you do something like that. You need to do. That's why I give them a list.
Advertising, yeah.
Yeah. And I give them a list, and there's 100 on the list, and they can count them if they want.
Are you going to do that again?
I am.
Soon?
I'm doing it at the Knitting Factory on Friday, December 19th.
December 19th. Yeah. I don't know if that's pre or post anybody hearing this podcast.
That might have happened already.
But if you, crank up the old time machine and go back and see David Carl at the Knitting Factory doing 100 impressions in 30 minutes. So how do people get in touch with you? Keep in touch. See if they do want to come see you, and it's past the 19th.
My website is davidcoreycarl.com, and Corey is spelled Correy.
Was David Carl taken?
It was.
Jerks.
Yeah.
Who is David Carl then?
I don't know. Because I didn't, a very kind ex-girlfriend actually, bought the domain. So I don't, and found out that like it would have cost $1,000, but I would have to ask her who that person was. But yeah. So it's David Corey called.
Yeah,
but I like it. I like that because it's, I don't know, it's my whole name.
Sure.
Why not?
Sure. Yeah, why not?
You get to learn a fun fact when you Google me. Because like I think you can still Google my name and then find, like you can Google David Carl, I think, and scroll 4 pages down and then.
David Carl and Gary Busey, I'm sure you pop up.
If you do that, I think that's the easiest way to find something about me.
Yeah. What about Twitter, Facebook? That kind of stuff?
Twitter is DCoreyCarl.
And
Facebook is just David Carl.
How'd you manage to snag that?
I don't. Well,
they're not exclusive. That's why.
Yeah, right. Because there's 341 David Carls on Facebook.
That's great.
Those are the ways to contact me, I guess.
And hopefully people will.
I hope so.
Hey, thanks for doing this, man.
Dude, this was fun.
Yeah, thanks for literally bringing your own lunch.
Yeah.
Hooray!
Yay! Thanks for coming to my home. This is really cool.
Yeah, you guys got a nice place.
Thanks. He's not just saying that, guys. I really do have a nice place.
It is a nice place. I'm very impressed by it. I feel very comfortable here. I might stay.
Comfort is what I look for.
Yes, I could tell. You're a comfortable guy. Thanks.
All right. Thank you.
There aren't too many people out there like David Carl, so I'm glad I had a chance to sit down with him and just spend some time. He's a great guy to sit and just chat with, so it was fun doing that. And if you want to follow his career, you can go to his website, David Corey Carl, DavidCoreyCarl.com, or you can follow him on Twitter at DCoreyCarl. Same spelling applies. Thanks, David, for being on the show, and thanks for hosting and being fun to talk to, and thanks for sharing with me the knowledge of Chinese donuts, which I now have to go taste myself because I never actually grabbed one from you. I do have regrets. That about does it for another edition of Bring Your Own Lunch. Before we go, got to thank some people. Banuba.net, BANOOBA.net. The people who provide the music for this show, they are as much a part of the show as I am, in my opinion. So you can go to their website, check them out, find out where they'll be playing, download some of their music, because they are awesome. NYSFSO.com. Now, chances are you're listening to this after tonight's New York Short Film Shootout, Best of the Best 1. That's 8 p.m. If you're listening to this prior to that on December 16th, you can run to the Treehouse Theater, 154 West 29th Street, and check out the show with us tonight. Or if you're listening to this afterwards, we are going to announce the future shows via that website, nysfso.com, which happens to still be our Facebook page. We're working on it, I swear. But we would love for you to come and check us out. And you can check out the venue. The website for the Treehouse Theater is treehousetheaternyc.com. And of course, you can always find us online, bringyourownlunch.com, where you can find out all the info and download and listen to the episodes, past, present, and future for this program. You can send me an email, dave@bringyourownlunch.com. Find us on Facebook and like us, facebook.com/bringyourownlunch, and follow us on Twitter at BYOL Podcast. And of course, please, please, please go to iTunes. Go there, subscribe to the show. You can get the episodes updated all by themselves. And you can also rate and review and then share the show with somebody you know who might be interested in what we're doing here, talking to so many great professionals in the world of entertainment. So if you want to give me a Christmas gift and you don't want to spend any money, there's your chance. Stay tuned for the Jimmy Jack Cowpunch Hour, followed by Mansoor and the Fish. And until next Tuesday, when I have another great guest lined up, this is Dave. I'll see you next Tuesday. Ho, ho. Ho.